Welcome back to the channel. Racer X here, and today I'm back with my good buddies at Courtesy Dodge Jeep Chrysler Ram in Tampa Bay because they have a very cool, very special edition car inside that I want to show you. Today's video is all about the Black Ghost, and I will talk about the new car. Only 300 of these cars built. I initially showed this car to you at SEMA, but I want to use it as a backdrop today. The customer's actually not picking it up till tomorrow morning. They only got one, but I actually heard that they sold the original Black Ghost at auction today, and I want to talk all about that original car, so it should be a lot of fun. If you guys are brand new to my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe right over here in the corner, and off we go.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Take a look at this, guys. They've got a beautiful jailbreak Challenger right here. TRX, I love this dealership, guys, but take a look at this bad boy right here. That is the 2023 Black Ghost. Now, as I mentioned, I showed this car to you at SEMA in the flesh, kind of got in the car, showed it to you, but it's really neat seeing this actually come out. This one belongs to a customer, the only one they are getting. I want to give you just a really quick walk around. As I mentioned, this video is all about the car that sold today at auction, the original Black Ghost, but it is kind of neat to see this car and then talk about the cues on this car compared to what the 1970 original Black Ghost was like. But certainly take a look right here. You've got the lines that come across the back. You've got the gator skin top on the car, which is what you would expect. The original Black Ghost, of course, had the gator skin top as well. Now, on the original car, this gator skin was actually done on accident. It was not done on purpose. Of course, they did it on purpose on this car, but you'll almost never see one of these. Only 300 of this particular car was actually made, and but not nearly as rare as the original.
This is a very rare car, made in 1970 only.
It's one of 22 4-speed Hemi Challenger RTSCs, but to be triple black with a gator grain, the best options you could get, it's the ultimate.
Now, there are a couple other very distinctive cues unique to this particular Black Ghost model. Now, you see right here, that Dodge emblem, that is unique to this car. And that, of course, is a throwback to the original Black Ghost. You got the hood pins right here. Once again, also a throwback to the original Black Ghost. And then, of course, when you jump over here to get in the car itself, you will notice you get a plaque right here that says Black Ghost on it as well. Now, the 1970 Dodge Challenger Black Ghost was truly an icon of Mopar. That thing used to run the streets of Detroit and absolutely terrorize people.
It was beating everything. Best Chevelles, 396, 375. Those were nothing for this car.
And it came equipped with a naturally aspirated 426, and the car actually had a very, very desirable spec.
All these big Mopar collectors, they would kill to be able to go to the dealer and order this car. And he had the foresight. I think he's one of the smartest guys to ever order a Hemi car.
He had to have a 4-speed because that's the way he was. You know, he likes the color black. He wants that all black.
Chrysler didn't actually build very many black cars. If you see a real black muscle car, it was ordered. Triple black is very rare on it.
But believe it or not, as I mentioned before, the gator skin, like you see on the top of this one, of course that is a sticker, on the original car was actual gator skin, and the owner of the car, Gottfried, he actually was not a huge fan of that at first. However, it did kind of start to grow on him a little bit.
When he ordered it, originally he was supposed to have a black vinyl top with a shaker hood. So I think something happened with his order. They screwed up royally on it. He saw the gator grain, was like, he loved it and he didn't love it all at the same time.
He didn't like the top, to be honest. I said, so what? Yeah, the car's got everything else. Don't worry about the top. And sure enough, that's what makes the car unique.
And this car, as we know, is somewhere around $100,000, a little over $100,000. Well, come to find out, at the Mecum auction in Indianapolis today, the original Black Ghost went for $975,000.
500, 600, by a 500, when you're going to do 600,000 on a bill. By a 500, when you're going to do 600, by a $500,000, 600, 700,000 on a bill. By a 600, you're going to do 700, 800, 800, 700, 800,000 on bid. 700 to bid. 805, 1 million.
Black Ghost is selling.
Good part.
Black Ghost, $975,000.
Now here is something that is really unique. That car originally stickered, and it was an expensive sticker all the way back in 1970. The way it was spec'd out was $5,200, well actually just over that. So imagine that, right? 53 years later, a car went from $5,300 to almost $1 million. How cool is that? Part of what made the Black Ghost car so cool and so iconic is the fact that Gottfried actually daily drove that car all the way back in 1970. He actually hauled motorcycles with that car. It was a very desirable 4-speed car. So a lot of people, Mopar historians, they look back at the way that car was spec'd and they kind of view it as like that holy grail in terms of the way that he spec'd it out. He kind of had some vision in his head and he just sort of went with it, went with a kind of expensive spec, but it turned out to be one of the most desirable specs anybody has ever done on a Mopar. Obviously, $975,000 at auction, a pretty special deal. But I just love the fact that he actually drove the car. Anytime you have a really special car, I've always been of the opinion that you should drive it, right? It shouldn't be just some paperweight in a museum or just sit in some garage and never get driven. And he really epitomized that whole concept of like, cool cars need to be driven, and he would run around and just beat everybody in the Black Ghost. But there's tons of stories out there from people in Detroit that would go out, race this guy on the street, right down Woodward Avenue, which is where they race now, which is really, really cool when they shut the street down up there at Speed Week. And tons of stories out there about this guy just trashing people, and then they would just see him driving around. But for the most part, this car was actually pretty elusive because he would go out, he would defeat everybody, and then nobody saw him. It was pretty neat.
This car was called the Black Ghost on the west side of Detroit.
It would come out, win a lot of races, and then disappear.
It was a legend.
How cool is it that 53 years after this car was produced and made a legend by Gottfried Qualls, that Dodge decided to make a special edition in honor of that very car. And it is a little bit of a shame. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2015, and his son Gregory actually has the car and owns the car, which is the one that went to auction today. Turns out Gregory's actually a huge fan of my channel. Saw him at SEMA. We talked a little bit, and I knew that this day was coming where he was actually going to sell the Black Ghost. And a little bit bittersweet, he held on to the car for quite some time. It really was a way of holding on to a piece of his dad, obviously a very special figure in his life. And he just felt like it was finally time to let it go. It is a piece of Mopar history, and obviously, you know, almost $1 million car now. And I love the fact that it's going to a Mopar enthusiast, somebody that really appreciates the car, loves it for what it is. And I couldn't be happier for Gregory as well, that he's able to kind of continue to live in his dad's legacy. And he mentions that, look, he has everything he needs of his dad right here, and the car needs to just be a part of the Mopar kind of history and lore. All right, guys, that about does it for this one. I just kind of wanted to go over the new Black Ghost with you. You're almost never going to see one of these on the street. Only 300 of these things made, and they're just now hitting the showroom. But the new Black Ghost, almost $1 million across the auction block. I could not be happier for the Qualls family. And it's interesting just how incredible these really legendary Mopars are. What do you guys think about how much the Black Ghost went for at auction? Is that about what you thought it would go for? Did it go for way more, way less? I'd love to hear it in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one. So until then, Racer X.